Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today I got a little project we're going to work on. I've got a casting. This was sent to me by my friend Clarke Easterling. Clarke is the guy that does all my foundry work for me. He's got Windy Hill Foundry, YouTube channel if you want to look him up. He makes my straight edge castings that I do, and we're working on a couple other projects that probably be offering some products along the way. But Clarke has got a little casting that he made up, and I think he's going to be trying to sell these himself. But what this is a cast iron square, and it's a rough casting. And we're going to take this rough casting today and turn it into a nice precision square. That's the plan. That's what we're going to do. Let me zoom you in and show you this nice casting, and then we're going to get to work doing some machining. So this is the casting, and I will say I shot it with some paint, and I didn't paint the whole thing because I was going to machine this, so that's what the color variation going on there is. But you can see it's a nice little casting he came up with, has his Windy Hill Foundry name in there. And anyway, we're going to take this. I'm going to start by machining these two surfaces flat and parallel over on the mill machine. Then we'll go ahead and do a rough milling job on the squares and on the ends. And then from there, probably take it up to the surface grinder and do a precision grind on it to get everything really tuned in. So let's go over to the milling machine and get it set up, and we'll start machining this thing. Set up over here on the mill machine. I've just got this clamped straight down to the table, and we're just going to start by surfacing one side. I'll flip it over. We'll mill it parallel. As parallel as the mill machine will get it, and then we'll go over and start working on getting these edges on the outside trued up as well. So let's turn that down a little bit. Just going to barely touch off. And then I'm going to raise the table up. Let's see. I just want to clean it up. I don't really want to take a whole lot of metal off of it. I think I'm going to do about 20 thou. And we'll see how that goes. Just got my auto feed on here, taking my time, cutting across it, just trying to get that outer scale off. All right, that cleaned up nice. Part is flipped over. We're ready to mill the other side here. Again, I'm just going to raise it up until it touches off right there. We'll raise the table up 20 thou again. That seemed to work good last time. And take it for a ride. We're over at the horizontal milling machine now. I've got the square set up on the table to mill the bottom end. We just got it clamped straight down on these surfaces that we just machined. And I'm just using a square here to kind of get it close. So we'll grind that in to the final squareness later on. So this is just rough milling right now. Let's fire up this milling machine. I can say that I'm really happy that if you follow my channel, you know I just did a repair to this milling machine, fixed the rapid traverses where they now work properly. Those clutches aren't slipping anymore. And I'm just really, really, really happy to have that functionality. I want my main cutting forces to be going down against the table. Cutter rotates in this direction, so we'll start on this end. Let's see what kind of speed I've got set up on here. Not very fast. That's better. We'll see, we're at 250 RPM on that. Go out, and just like before, I think I'm gonna feed in. We'll do 25 thou. That's 10, 25 right there. And let it roll across there. All right, guys, because of the draft angles on this, I'm gonna have to take a lot more than that off of this side. So let me dial some more in. We're gonna take, I think I'm gonna take 100 thou. So let me, 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 80, that's about 100 right there. Let me eyeball it. That's going to be close. So we'll engage our feed and let it just eat right across there. Nice thing about this horizontal milling machine is that you can take a pretty stout cut on it, and it'll take some metal off. Yeah, I think that's going to clean up just fine. All right. Take these clamps off. And it's rough, but that's fine. We're going to grind. So we're just going to flip that over there. Get it set up again. All right, we'll just get that nice and square there on that side. That'll get us close to the grinder. And again, we'll go in about 100 thou. 4, 6, 8, 10. Let me eyeball it, make sure. I'm just going to go a little bit more. That is probably good enough. And let's roll across there. And that's got it. Next thing I want to do is flip it around and mill these, the top and the bottom. Again, we'll make that square and parallel to everything else. So let me move it around again. All right, let's cut across that. There you go, all milled up. Won't vouch for how square it is right now. It's probably pretty close, but we will fine tune that over on the surface grinder, get it dialed in just right. And that's what's up next. Let me go get my surface grinder set up and we'll start grinding this thing in. Over at the surface grinder now, I've got a wheel on here that's for grinding cast iron. And I've got my part laid down. First thing I want to do is I want to grind these two sides parallel to one another. So I've just got it laid on here right like that. I need to dress my wheel. I've actually been grinding a little bit, so I've already got the machine warmed up. And raise this wheel up so we can put a fresh grind on there. I just changed wheels, so this wheel I'm sure is not running true at all, so we'll need to grind it where it is running perfectly true. Hasn't got any skips in it. I'm using a cluster diamond. Notice there's multiple diamond points on that diamond. Just putting my hand here to feel some grit coming off of that wheel. Feeding down. All right, I'm just touching. And I'm going to do a fairly coarse grind on there, and I can actually hear it. It's still kind of skipping a little bit. So come back across it again. Much more even now. So I'm going to go 3 thou, 2 thou, and now 1 thou. And that should be dressed. Get this out of here. Turn my mag back on. We'll lower our wheel down. All right, I have gone down till I'm just barely touching that. I want to kind of fish around on here to see what kind of, I'll raise it up just a little bit. Put some mist coolant on there. My goal here is that I want to get that ground even, but I'm taking way too heavy of a cut over here on the other side. So that's still mighty heavy cut. All right, we're going to come back across that again. This first pass is going to take a little while. Looks like what's not as parallel as I thought it was over on the milling machine, but that's all right. That's what we do, the surface grinding. And I'm picking up now over here. I don't think it's going to hit anywhere out here. We will bring it down 2 thou. I'm just coarsely bringing it back in until we start picking up sparks again. It should start picking up somewhere right along in here. There it goes. Two more thou down, and we'll work our way back across again. It's going to take a while to get this first side ground in. Looks like it's got at least 10 thou of variation across it, which is why we call it rough milling. People think things come off perfectly flat off the milling machine, but this kind of tells the story here. The surface grinder, though, will do the trick. It'll get it nice and flat, and ground in very, very nicely. Guys, I just spent some time getting this side flat and had to take a little over 20 thou off to get it completely down and even all the way across. I just redressed my wheel. Let me touch it off here. Okay, we're touched off right there. I'm not wanting to take much off of this, so I just want to take a couple of light passes with a freshly dressed wheel to get that final finish. I got it flat, but because we did so much rough grinding, I wanted to dress that wheel before we took it off. That just gives us a little bit nicer finish on there and should make it flatter as well when we get through. I'm probably taking about a half a thou on this pass, maybe just a tad more than that, but not much. We've been across it. I'm going to feed down about probably 2/10, and we'll come back across it, and then we'll spark it out. Now I'm just sparking it out, and by doing that, I'm taking my hand wheel, feeding it in and out, letting the automatic feed go back and forth, and I'm just rapidly moving across there and letting it just take off anything that it may have missed. This is an important step in getting something really, really dead nuts flat, is to make a couple of just passes across there until you quit seeing any sparks at all. I haven't seen any in a while, but it's probably still cutting. We got that mist on there. That can make a hide a small spark. So just going to go back and forth a couple of times, and we should be good. We'll come back one more time and I'll be done. Now, I'm going to flip it over. I'm wiping this down. I don't want to get too close to that chuck. But I do want to make sure we got all the grit off of this table. I'm going to flip it over now. Mag it back down. Now, because we were magged down on this face on the other side, shouldn't have to take a whole lot off of this. I'm going to feed down a thou, and let's work our way across. You see the pattern on this after the first pass. It was basically only kind of touching on the inside of that whole inner piece there on the inner edge. But we're going to take it down where it's flat all the way across. Hopefully it won't take more than just a couple of thou to get this side ground down flat. So just like on the other side, once I got this cleaned up, it actually looks pretty good, but I redressed the wheel, touched off again. I'm taking about a half a thou pass, and we're going to come across this and get a really nice finish on it. I'm going to come across this, taking about a half a thou this pass. I'll take about 1 or 2 tenths on the next pass, and then we'll spark it out till I quit seeing any sparks at all. And hopefully we'll have a real nice parallel surfaces here with a real nice finish on both sides. All right, I think we have got it ground parallel on the sides. Turn my mag off. There we go. Beautiful grind. Very happy with the appearance. After a while, we'll check it out on the surface plate and see how parallel it is. That'll be pretty close. All right, so next up, we'll start grinding in the edges here to make them square. Let me get that set up, and we'll be back in a little bit. So to grind these two sides square to one another, what I'm using is a grinding cube back here. Now this is a extremely accurate, very precision ground cube. It was actually made by Steve Barton over at Solid Rock Machine Shop. I purchased it from him a while back. This is an item that he makes and sells out of tool steel. But when he finished this block, it was ground flat, square, and parallel to within 50 millionths of an inch. And I actually, before I brought it over here, I set all this up on my surface plate, and I checked it with my 50 millionths indicator, and yes, it is running at least parallel. I didn't check squareness, but I did check parallel, and it's dead on, and I'm fully confident that he's got this thing dialed in exactly right. So what I've done is I've taken this square and I've just clamped it to the face of this block. Now, I had to cheat a little bit here because my square is actually bigger than the block, so I've got to transfer magnetic block up underneath this. And I actually did it off camera, but I actually ground this parallel, so it's actually extremely parallel to one another. I'm confident going on here. I'm probably honestly adding a little bit of error by putting this block up under it, but because I'm going to be turning it, it should still end up square, theoretically. My surface grinder, I'm probably not going to be able to get it within 50 millionths. It's just beyond the tolerances of what this machine will do. But I should be able to get this within a couple of tenths at the very least. At least that's my hope. So anyway, we're going to go ahead in here. I've already got this mag down. What we will do is we will grind the top face here, and then we will take the mag, we'll release it, we'll turn it 90 degrees. Just flip it over where this side is sitting down on the bottom, this side is on the top. We'll grind it again, and because these two sides are square to one another, these two sides should be square to one another as well. So let's go ahead and do it. I do need to dress my wheel. I've got a single point diamond in here now just because I got this adjustable height deal to put it in, which really makes this a lot easier. So let's fire up our machine. Bring our wheel down to the diamond. Right there. Come back across it. I'm going to take this off just so I don't crash into it by mistake. Now and touch off here. I'm going to kind of fish around on here, make sure I'm not going to crash into anything, and that appears to be grinding fairly evenly across there, which means that it should have milled it pretty square on the mill machine, actually better than I thought. So let me go ahead. This is the side that's got a little bit of a rough mill on it. I'm going to go ahead and take 2 thou on that side. I'm happy with that. We'll come across. All right, I'm going to release my magnet, and what we're going to do, wipe this down real good. Mag that down. I'm going to leave my wheel alone, I think. Come in here, touch off again. All right. It's barely touching there. All right. I'm just going to go down one thou. This side is not near as rough as that other side was. Let that cut across. So it ground about half of it out pretty good. Down here it wasn't quite touching, which tells me it was tilted back just a little bit from square, but not bad at all for coming right off the milling machine. It was probably squared within a couple of thou anyway. All right, I'm going to take another thou, come down. We'll come back across. As long as I got all this set up, I'm going to go ahead and grind the tops of these. Those tops, I'm just doing this for finish. These are not measuring surfaces, but hey, we'd like for them to be square and parallel too. So we'll do it. All right, I think we got our grinding done. Let's take it to the surface plate and do some inspection work. We've got a 50 millionths indicator in here. So if you look on the dial, 0 to 1, that's 1,000th. Each big line is 1/10,000th. Each little line in between is half of a 10,000th or 50 millionths of an inch. So very picky, very ticky indicator here. A lot of travel on there isn't a whole lot of distance. Let's sweep it across here. I'm going to say that's within a tenth. Whoops. Let's take it this way and see what it looks like. Just wanting to stick to my surface plate. So I'm measuring about maybe a tenth and a half in that direction. I don't know why it's so sticky. So next I've got my squareness comparator out over here, and this is another piece that I got from Solid Rock Machine Shop. I use this thing all the time just as an indicator holder over here on the surface plate to hold my indicator while I'm indicating. But the cool thing is it has this little bull nose up down the bottom, and you can come in up against something that is known to be square, such as this grinding block that I have, and you can bring that bottom in, and you basically just rotate this and watch my indicator. It's going to come up, and then it's going to hit 0, and then as I rock past it goes back down. So that is the absolute highest spot. I got it set to 0 right there. So what I'm going to do now is test this over on my square that I just ground, and that should give me a real good indication as to how square things are. So let's bring our square in here. Same thing as before. And it looks like it's somewhere between 50 millionths and a tenth off from the zero, so it's not dead nuts perfect, at least compared, assuming that my standard here is accurate, which I feel like it's within 50 millionths. This is measuring within about, I'm just going to say a tenth, a little less than a tenth actually. I'm happy with that. For what I'm going to use it for, I think it's going to be more than adequate, so happy with the results. Well, there you go, guys. Nice little project for a Saturday afternoon out in the shop, milling and grinding this casting and turning it into a nice precision tool that I can add to my arsenal and use in the shop. This is going to be a nice little square. It's going to be really cool because it is wide enough that it will sit up on the surface plate like this right here, so I can see lots of uses for something like this. Very happy with it. Clarke, you did a great job on the casting as usual. I will mention, guys, Clarke is selling these. I don't know all the details and prices or whatever. He sent this one to me to try out. I think I'm only the second person to have actually machined one. And I'm not even sure, maybe the first person has ground one in all the way. But this was just kind of a prototype. He wanted me to check it out for him, make sure his product was good. But if you are interested, if you want to purchase one, contact Clarke directly. You can email him at Clarke, C-L-A-R-K-E, at windyhillfoundry.com. I've got his email address right down here, and I'll try to put that over in the description of this video as well, so you can get a hold of Clarke and get one ordered if you like. And with that, I think that is going to be a wrap on this video, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Comments are appreciated. Thumbs up are as well, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And with that, guys, we'll catch you on the next video.